Yo, what's the deal, family? Welcome back to another SOS podcast. I am Cameron. This is my beautiful wife, Erin.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
Oh
What's
my
going
gosh,
on?
it's 2025. How
I
are you
can't even believe
feeling?
I'm good,
Are you excited for this
I
year?
saw, if you watch My Wife and Kids, I saw that Claire is finally free because
Oh my gosh. What, they said something about
remember it was like her
2025?
dad's like you can date or something like that in January.
How do
And
people
her
even
birth, because
be...
I think they wrote it in. I just realized because of a post, her birthday is actually in January, so that made sense.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Yes, I'm super excited for 2025. Not that anyone asked me, but I'm ready. This year is gonna be so big for us, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be a year.
I know.
It's gonna be a year for sure.
Yes. Well, we are doing a Q&A finally after about, I don't know, a year of saying we were going to do one. I finally was like, let me just put out a little question box, and we got a lot of questions. I don't even think we need to do a this or that. I think we should just plunge right into the
Okay.
questions. What are we sipping on?
So y'all know it's dry January. We do not consume any alcohol in the month of January. It's funny because last year people were like, you guys didn't make any cocktails. We literally never make cocktails in January.
Yeah, this
but
is
it's
like
I
a
knew you were
thing.
pregnant. No,
Yeah.
no,
I'm like, we do
just
this every year.
yeah.
And no, I'm not pregnant right now.
So I guess we've been pregnant for the last, 5-6 years. But yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just cranberry juice and ginger beer,
And a lime
And a
garnish
lime
because he was
garnish.
gonna jip us of a garnish, and I was like, no,
Cheers.
I'll at least make a lime wedge. Tasty. I love dry January. I feel like we went really hard this holiday season.
I wouldn't say we went hard.
You don't? You wouldn't? Maybe because I was fresh off of being
Yeah, I was
pregnant.
about to say it wasn't nothing crazy.
So it felt like we were just like at restaurants getting cocktails, at home making
you just
cocktails.
hadn't done it for so long.
So it
that,
just felt
yeah.
like a lot.
No, we didn't go crazy. Like literally no time. Okay, maybe you were a little bit more tipsier than usual, but we never got to a point to where we remotely was like, oh, this is too much.
No,
we
no,
may have
no.
had one or two.
We don't drink
really
to get drunk.
So
We
that's what I'm
just drink
saying.
because we enjoy like really good cocktails.
So,
But
yeah, we
not to
never-
actually get drunk.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say we did anything out of
No,
the usual.
no. But I'm excited for this year to just kind of cleanse, to just really adapt a healthy lifestyle, to just, I don't know.
And just elevate.
Feel better,
Yeah.
do better, be better, all the things.
What's this year's word? Last year was energy, which I feel like that was not a lot of energy.
I don't know. I don't know what this year's word is yet. I actually just ordered my stuff for my vision board, so that video is going to be coming on my channel pretty soon. And I decided this year that I want to make a vision board that I will look at all the time. So I thought about doing a vision book, but then I was like, well, I will have to actively go and look in the book in order to see the vision. You know what I mean?
Right.
Versus just having it out. So yeah, I'm excited because we have got to get it cracking this year. This is our time to shine for sure. So we got things we gotta elevate. Maybe that's the word.
That's what I'm saying. Is elevate the word? Elevate?
I don't know. Keep the ease going.
Okay. I don't know how long that's gonna last, but
But yeah, we've got to elevate this year. So
all right.
We'll see.
Let's get to these questions.
all right, so we've got a lot of questions to go through. So let's get to them. First question, I won't say who it's from because, I don't know if people want to remain anonymous. But now that the baby is here, how do you feel about the statement you made before she was born about her fitting into your lives and your plan to continue living the same but with a baby now? Not your exact wording, but I remember the topic coming up in an episode before she was born since I had just paused my own production in my small business to have my baby.
I feel the same. The statement still holds true.
Okay.
Is having a baby extra job? Absolutely. Is having a baby time consuming? Yeah. Is having a baby being gaining the ability to adjust to time, yeah, all those things. But I think the reality is you still got to do what you got to do, and the baby still has to fit into what you already have going. Instead of you fitting into only the baby's time.
Yeah.
It's just all about adjusting, how you're willing to adjust, where you're going to adjust at. Also while maintaining some type of rest, I guess. But yeah, I think that statement still holds true.
Yeah, I would say the same. I don't want to make it seem as though we were oblivious to the fact that having a baby would cause us to need to adjust, because there are things that we just don't have control over. Obviously, like, you don't know when the baby's going to be asleep when they're first born. Like, they don't have as much of a like tight schedule, you know? So
Right.
to some extent, yes, we are on borrowed time with River. Like, when we don't have help here, like, if she's wide awake or needs attention, like, we do have to drop what we're doing to attend to her. However, in the moments that she is asleep or she is quiet and occupied on her own, like, we try to take advantage of that time. And that is why it's very important for us to, like, prioritize. We are, like, faithful with our top 3 notebooks, because we just know how important it is to make sure that the little bit of times that we, and honestly, she's a good baby. So, like, sometimes we have a few hours that we can, like,
We be
really
having
knock
time.
stuff out.
Yeah.
So at the times that we are able to do that, we really do try to take advantage of that. And
But we also
sometimes
took 2 months of just like nothing really.
Yeah.
And kind of just
easing into
into
things.
parenting, learning what this new life will look like,
Yeah.
and things like that. Like, we had time, we had plenty of help, still have help. My mom is here right now while we do this. So, like, just also using our resources. Maybe we didn't do it as much because we could have maybe been did this or got used to, like, oh, Mom, why don't you come over for an hour just to sit upstairs?
Yeah.
But they don't need training. They were going to come anyway. But I'm just saying, like, making sure we use our resources and not being afraid. And even for myself, like, I'm not somebody who just asks for help.
Yeah.
But I have no problem calling either of our parents. I'm like, hey, what y'all doing? We need some help.
Yeah.
Not helping like, oh, red flag. It's just like, hey, we got something to do. Can you
come
give
by
us an
for,
hour
like,
or
an
two
hour
or
or
whatever the
two,
case
yeah.
may be? And,
And I think
that's why family is family. Though.
Yeah, and I think too we have accepted that things will just look different with a child. Like, it's like, we haven't had our first trip with her yet, but traveling with a child is gonna look different than traveling with just the 2 of us, and, like, we're okay with that. You know,
we
like,
probably can't get to the airport 30 minutes before our flight is taking off.
Yeah.
But I don't think I view that as their time. I think that is just doing something that the adjustment is being responsible. I don't think
yeah.
that's all. You're on the baby's time. But no, it's just you're on responsibility. Like, that's all
Yeah.
it is. It's just being responsible for the time that you do have.
Well, I think I was just saying that because people will take what you say and, like, really run with it, in the sense that, like, well, in my eyes, it's like, we're not going to stop traveling because we have a baby.
Right.
Like, she's going to come with us. So, like,
Yeah.
even though traveling may look different, we may have to bring a parent. We may have to rent a house now instead of only staying in hotels most of the time. Like, we need the extra space or refrigerators and things like that, you know?
Yeah.
But we've accepted that that's what it's going to look like. We don't
Right.
want to just stop doing things that we love just because we have her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an adjustment for sure. Like, having a baby is a huge adjustment, and it's a great one. But thankfully, we work from home. We have our own business, and I think for us, the biggest thing has also just been, trying to find that routine and rhythm. So, we're still getting there, but
Yeah.
overall, I would say that it still holds true as well.
Okay, cool. So next question.
Okay, next question is okay. I guess this is another parenting question. What took you by surprise about parenthood, and how has it evolved your relationship?
What took
us by surprise? Like, what has surprised us about parenthood, and how has it evolved our relationship?
surprised us? You, like your postpartum stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you
Can
hear
you, like,
about it.
expound a little bit?
Like, you hear about it, but like you don't know the level or the extent of that your wife will experience. You
But
can
like,
li-
in what regard? I feel like you can't assume that people know what you're referring
Oh,
to.
I mean, just like from the first day or the first week, like the tearing or like you just being sore or stuff
Just
like
like the
that.
healing.
The healing part is like whoa, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Shoot, now your hair is shedding, like walking around, there's hair all over. I mean, it's
Literally
just
hair
like
everywhere.
the biggest adjustment to me, or the biggest surprise, has been how much you have to go through as a woman.
The night sweats. Oh my god.
Oh, that was like the first 2 months.
Yeah,
She's
was
constantly
so
hot. Like,
just everything trying to like re-regulate.
yeah,
After
it's just
that.
like,
It's a
bro,
process.
why do women have to go through all of this just to have a baby?
Just to have a baby?
I mean, goodness.
That's just a huge thing to do.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's just like, we always say, like, having a baby is like the biggest blessing, or such a huge blessing, and it is. But it's like, man, sometimes from a human standpoint, when I really look at it, it's kind of like, man, you.
Yeah.
This is like, is this a reward, or is this like you had a baby and now this is your reward? Now you got to go through all these different changes daily, and I'm like, bro, like having a baby. I mean, yeah, we feel
It's
blessed,
cool,
but golly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would say the things that you've had to go through and are going through has been the biggest surprise. Like you hear about what different women go through. I've seen what my sister has had to go through, but what y'all went through are two totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't been depressed or anything like that. So when you hear postpartum depression, you're thinking maybe like sadness, 24/7. At least that's what, from a surface level, that's something that I would think, like, oh yeah, she's depressed.
Yeah.
It's not literally just depression. It's literally like you got
so many things.
Yeah, you got a whole
I
list
did
of
have
things.
the baby blues a little bit.
What's the baby blues?
Like when I was just start crying sometimes.
Oh yeah, you did in the beginning.
But yeah, I mean that's definitely for sure like a big one.
Yeah.
All the things that the journey of healing after the baby is huge. The second part of the question, and I'll answer this before you answer that, but it was, how has your relationship evolved?
Oh yeah, okay.
But I would say my biggest surprise is how fast the time is going. Like everyone says that the time just flies by, and I'm like, okay, like that sounds so cliche, but it's so true. Like I look at River now and I'm just like every day I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're getting so big. Like it's just crazy how fast they hit these different little milestones, and like it's just so sweet, and I'm just trying to hold on for dear life.
It is going by quick.
It's going by so fast.
Yeah.
So I love that. I feel like I just love her more every single day, and I'm just like, how is that even possible?
The attachment does
it's growing. Yeah, it's like I can't say that I felt just undeniably attached right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I, of course, loved her, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my baby, you know? So it's just, the love grows. And I think with the time going so fast, that has been a surprise. How has our relationship evolved?
I don't even know how to answer that off the dome.
Mm-hmm. I think I have joy in seeing Cameron be a dad. Like, I think it's something that you will never experience of your spouse until you have kids. And it's like learning them in a whole new way, because you get to see them in this role that is just so special. And I just look at you and like, you already have always been like a ride or die. Like I got you, like super protective, super great of a husband, but to see you as a husband and a dad, it's just like on a whole nother level. Like we will literally be at the mall and Cameron will be like, nope, I'm taking River, or like he'll go and like he doesn't have a problem like taking her or doing things with her without me. And I think a lot of dads have this kind of fear, like you don't most women are the ones who have that maternal instinct and they have that natural ability to nurture. And I think with Cameron, it's just happened so effortlessly, even though you may not have thought that it would. So
Yeah,
I
definitely
think that
is.
it's been really special for me to just see you from this point of view.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely don't have a problem having my daughter. I think one thing that I always knew is that when I did have kids, that they would be with me for sure. Uh, like it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
But to answer the question on how we evolved, I don't know. I think just the biggest blessings in my life has been you, my wife, and my child. Like I don't know. That's just God to me. Like I don't know if we can get any closer. Like I think we're close, and I think we are constantly growing. But I don't know. I think the blessing. I think the what I would consider the evolving is being able to see the blessing more and more. Like I'm getting more of the blessing. Like God is revealing more of what He has placed y'all in my life for. You know, so that's the best way I can put that.
I love that. Okay.
What's the next?
Okay. Let's see. Do you two have a New Year marriage meeting for planning and goal setting?
Yeah,
We haven't had it yet, but
well, we had a meeting, but we haven't had one that we recorded.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
there will be one coming that we will record. Yes.
Yes. It's just y'all know how we feel about marriage meetings. And we I don't want to say. But
What?
we do have something special coming.
We have something coming for sure.
But I do think that I think we could just maybe touch on where we're at with things. Like Cameron put me on a budget. He put both of us on a budget. We're on a budget. These are things we talk about when we have marriage meetings. And sometimes they're not like super formal, sit down, let's have a marriage meeting. Like it could be I'm cooking and we just end up stirring up conversation about certain things. But
Or this is just sometimes I just say like this is what we got to do. This is what's
yeah,
about to happen, and there's no
exactly.
conversation. It's just like okay,
Yeah.
and not to say like I'm pushing anything, but it's more so like we don't have time sometimes to sit down all the time. And it's just like hey, this is what we got going on. This is what we need to do. This is what we're about to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the meeting. Sometimes.
Yeah. I planned a month of meals out for us. We're just trying to figure out like our schedule in terms of going to the gym, morning routines, evening wind down, like our ideal schedule. So these are the things that we're kind of going through right now as it's a new year and we're just really trying to max out this year. It's going to be very busy for us personally and work-wise. So those are kind of some of the things that we've been talking about. And also trying to pre-plan out date nights. So a lot of times we end up on Thursday like, "Ooh, where should we go tomorrow?" And then by then all the reservations are taken and just we're trying to just really think ahead and plan ahead and not be so impulsive as much as we were last year. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Someone said, Aaron, what things do you do / say to speak life into Cameron in ways he receives, resources and Rex? I think that'd be a question you answer. Do I speak life into you?
Yeah, I would say resources and Rex. Like what? Like what resources do you use?
Like, do I have any resources or recommendations for
Oh, how to
I
speak
guess,
life?
how to speak life into your partner? Wow, the fact that that's even a question, I'm like, wow,
Yeah, I mean,
how highly to think of me in a way that we can provide that information.
you gotta answer it.
Maybe you have to answer that.
I would say yeah, you do. Like, I don't know how to.
Okay, what ways do I?
Um, dang, that's what ways. Like, how do you? Or like,
I don't know.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know how to,
That is a hard question to answer. I would say, I mean, honestly, it's just paying attention to your spouse and like determining where, I would say like what they're good at and then where they're a little bit like need areas of improvement, and like when they show that they are doing the thing, then like encourage them. I don't know. I just try to be encouraging.
Yeah,
Like when
I think it happens.
like it's kind of just like a
It's kind of
natural.
effortless. So I can't really finger point uh when or how you do it.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I think it's daily, weekly thing. You know.
I think it's important, I guess, because it really doesn't matter in the sense of how we do it, because
Yeah.
that's our relationship, and everyone may not receive encouragement
In the
or
same way.
yeah, in the
You
same
may
way.
need to do it like more direct
I
or
think it's worth having the conversation of with your significant other and saying like, do you feel encouraged by me? Do you feel supported by me? In
Yeah.
what ways do you feel most supported, or in what ways do you feel most loved, or what can I do to make you feel more loved? Like those are the types of questions. I don't think it's rocket science to like, you don't have to try to like find all these ways. The biggest thing I would recommend is to like talk to your significant
Yeah.
other and ask those questions directly.
You know what I would say? I think the best way to speak life into your spouse or your boyfriend or man or whatever the case may be is to just simply be honest. Sometimes honesty goes way further than what we realize. And when you're being honest, you may be doing more than just truth telling. You may be saying exactly what someone needs to hear. And sometimes saying exactly what someone needs to hear helps them get over maybe a hump, helps
Yeah.
them go harder in what they're doing, helps them do all the things that they have been trying to do but hadn't been able to figure it out without the honest truth.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I
that's the
agree.
best way I can put it. And I think because we are honest with one another, like, that's, I don't know, I guess that's the speaking life into each other.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it's not always going to be cute. It's not always going to be, and it's not always going to be like this bad thing. It's just more so like whether it's cute or bad, if that's how you want to receive it, that's still speaking life. It's kind of like, hey, you need to get on it, or hey, you're doing a great job with that. And that's a very simplified way of explaining that or expounding on that. But yeah, I think it doesn't have to always be this very positive, cute thing. And I think when you're thinking about how to speak life into somebody, I think most people are thinking like, oh, I need to say this in this positive way, and I need to only like I guess compliment you. Sometimes I need more than the compliment. I need like, nah, what do you see? Like I
Yeah.
could be doing this good, but what can I do to do something better?
Yeah. And
So
I
how do
think
you
yeah.
encourage that basically?
Yeah, and we have like, it's so funny because even though I'm the social media person, I will still always be like, babe, look at this. Like, can you tell me what you think or whatever? And he almost always is like, oh yeah, babe, this is great. Um, but when he gives me his phone, he's like, babe, what do you think about this? Like, how do you like this? What do I do?
Oh, she write that boy up. whole
I
thing
like
changed.
shred it apart. Like,
Red, what you call
yeah,
it?
red line,
Red line, the
everything.
whole thing.
I'm like, you need to change this, you need to do that, you need to switch this, like this is too big, make this smaller, like whatever. So
She just takes everything, the phone, the computer.
and he doesn't take it to heart. But I think even though it can seem like, and I've asked him, I'm like, do you feel like, I don't know, do you like when I do that? And he's like, yeah, like I want it to be good. Like, why wouldn't I take advantage of the fact that like you're great at this and
Yeah.
you know what to do? Like, I'm asking you because I want you to
Yeah.
give me the honest feedback. And I think that's just the kind of, I guess that's like a microcosm of just the way that our relationship works, is like, you know, there are certain things that Cameron is better than I am at things, and we just have to be open and honest with each other,
Yeah.
especially when the feedback is requested. Like, it would not behoove me to just be like, oh, yeah, babe, like, that's so amazing,
Right.
when I know that there are ways that it can be improved. So, yeah.
And sometimes I might hit one here and there. And
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, this is actually good. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, for real?
Right, exactly.
but
Or
I
like
mean,
when you edit my stuff, and if I have no edits, he's always so happy. He's like, "There's no edits, seriously? Like you don't have anything you want to switch?" And I'm like, "No, like this is
Yeah.
good." And he's like on cloud 9.
Yeah, it's like great. But it's, I think it's just overall, like being able to do that. It's kind of just like I said, from a cute to not so cute type of thing. It's like, are you able to receive, no matter what the condition of the
feedback or
scenario
statement.
is.
Or,
Yeah, it's just kind of
exactly.
like we know that's what we know that whatever is said is in our best interest of one another.
Exactly.
That's the best way to put it.
Okay. Hey, Aaron and Cam. Hey. My boyfriend and I have been dating since we were 16. We are now 25. So that's 9 years. I
Okay,
graduated, and I ain't too good at math, but I can count some dating years now. I graduated school 1 year ago, and he is still currently in school. We are at the point where everyone keeps asking us about marriage and children, and both of us have agreed we are not yet ready. Personally, I feel like I'm just now learning who I am as an adult since being out of school. My first question is, did you all have any pressure like this? And if so, how did you handle it? And what tips do you have for high school sweetheart couples working towards marriage? I've always been told there is never a right time. And lastly, how did you both know you were ready for the next step? Love the podcast and how much I have learned from the two of you. Additional question: how do you keep the spark in your relationship as a young married couple with years to come? We actually got a couple of people asking how to keep the spark, so I guess we can answer that. But she asked quite a bit of questions in the beginning. So the first one was, did you all feel any pressure or have any pressure like this? And if so, how did you handle it? So the pressure to like get married and have kids.
Nah, no real I mean, you got people saying stuff.
And we started,
but
we were friends in high school. We didn't actually start dating until
college.
my last year of college.
Yeah.
So.
What I mean, everybody views it, I guess, because of how, madly in love she was with me.
Oh my gosh, shut up.
No, I don't. First of all, I don't think there was pressure just because neither of us received pressure from anyone like that. It's kind of like we can laugh something off, and then everybody's like, all right, well, I guess we're not gonna say anything anymore. So, I think it's just kind of how you go about the pressure.
Yeah.
Are you confident in it? Are you confident within your relationship? It's kind of like you got to be able to ask yourself those questions or ask each other that question. But really, how do you know is, ladies, you might know. You might think he's the one and all that good stuff. But ultimately, I think that is on the both of y'all, but that is on the man to kind of lead you into that space. So that's how you really would know. I feel like how he's leading you is where he's leading y'all to is kind of when you like, oh nah, this it, like we were locked in. So yeah, like we dated, and it was a time where in dating we were locked in, but I wasn't leading her into marriage. But once I took a step in a direction that I needed, everything clicked, everything changed, and then it felt like it was time. But even for a whole year, while it felt like it took basically 2 years before I proposed. Mm-hmm. Like giving it time, like not being afraid to give something time to, as a man for sure, to just secure the future that you want to take your future family into, your wife, your kids potentially. Like, I just think the leadership behind it, how you go about leading that type of situation is what matters most, and that's when you will know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't feel any pressure. I was so focused on what I had going on. I was like, shoot, whenever he proposes, when he proposed, like I know it's coming. I think the reason why I didn't feel pressure is because I was so secure in what we had, and I was so confident that it was coming that I'm like, what is there to feel pressure for, and also, like you said, I think it's about how you handle it when people ask, because we kind of just shut it down. Like, it was kind of just like, whenever he's ready is when we're gonna get married. Like, whenever he's ready to propose. Like, it's not about me being ready, it's about both of us being ready. And we did check-ins with each other, like, even though his weren't accurate because he would give a false percentage, but we'd be like, what percent are you at? And like, be like, oh, I'm at like a 70, I'm at like 75, I'm at an 80, whatever. Literally, like, the week before he proposed, he said he was at like a 78 or something. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, what do you mean you're at a 78? But I was just like, oh, whatever, it's coming. But I think as the woman, you can just tell by how the man is moving whether or not he is really locked in and ready.
Yeah.
And at that point, there's nothing to feel pressure about because you know.
Yeah.
I just feel like his whole attitude toward marriage and you and your relationship just changes.
All right, let's try to get more questions. So like we've been spending time on each one.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
we can
and how
always
do you
do a
keep the
part
spark
two.
alive? I think that was it. I mean, I'm gonna call it how it is, bruh. Shoot. Hey, I don't mind being like, hey, let's go. But I also make sure we go on dates. I also make sure I do stuff in the house. Like, I don't know. That's just how you keep
I
it going.
think
Like
too,
you
yeah, I think too, people think like, which it could be this, but like people think sparks means you have to like do all these fancy things
extravagant
like rose
things.
petals and this and that, and we don't be doing none of that.
My
Now,
roommate never had no
not
rose.
to say that you can't do those things, but it's just like life is just life, and I feel like things can feel social media especially or movies
Can
or
make you feel
TV
like you
makes you
need
feel
to.
like you need to do all of these things, but
Yeah.
trust me, like he gonna take you however you are willing to give yourself to him. So so it's
Ooh.
really not I think like kind of taking the pressure off of feeling like you have to show up in a certain way every time. And I do think it's nice to like do special things here and there, but I don't know. I kind of
Yeah,
feel like
the main thing is understanding. I think everything doesn't have to look extravagant in order to have a spark. It's just
yeah.
kind of like I said, you can do something throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk about what she's into sometime, or I don't know. Our walks might spark the whole day.
Yeah.
Like that 1 hour conversation that we may have on our morning walks or whatever. That may be the only spark we need for the whole day. By
Yeah.
the time, I mean, it could be right when we get home.
Yeah, but
And
also
it's not
just
even
like the
it's not even just from the from a sexual standpoint either. It's just kind of like that could spark us in a way of like, oh no, we need to this time to get it cracking like
Yeah.
on in life. Like I feel like, oh man, that conversation is what we needed.
Yeah.
So it's just like being able to identify what helps y'all spark.
Yeah.
Like what if it's a walk, if it is an extravagant date, if it is a steakhouse, or maybe it's just going out to get pizza or going to your favorite
Coffee shop.
hometown
or-
restaurant,
yeah,
coffee
or
shop.
whatever.
Like it's kind of like what is able to ignite both of y'all spark? Like what do y'all have in common that says, oh yeah, we there? Or what does she need, or what does he need to get that off for the day
True.
before he leave the house, or by the time he come home, before she leave the house, or by the time she get home? Like what is it that they need, and what time of day do you can identify like, oh, she need to pick me up right now, or
Yeah.
that can create a spark. Like, oh, he saw that I needed that pick me up, or maybe you went and got her some coffee, and she ain't asked for it, but you like, oh no, she needs some coffee right now. And you come
Yeah,
home,
just
and then shoot, that's getting you more than some work done. So
Yeah, I mean, just like paying attention
to what
to your spouse.
needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tips for combining finances / bank accounts as a married couple.
Just do it if you want to. If you don't, have separate.
Babe,
No,
this
I
is
really
how he
don't-
talks to me, by the way. Do you think it's
Con-
wise to combine finances or?
I feel like when that's a question, and it's hard for me to give feedback because it's just like I feel as though you and your person need to have a conversation about finances. Like I think it's hard to be told what to do by another couple because every couple isn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, what's your strong suits? If you got an individual in one joint, that's fine. Or if maybe one person handles all the finances, that's also fine. It's kind of like you got to be able to identify what your strengths are within when it comes to finances, and not be afraid to be okay with letting the reins wherever they are supposed to be held at.
Yeah.
Like
I
that's
agree.
the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I handle all the finances.
Yeah, he does.
Aaron doesn't even like looking.
I don't. It gives me anxiety.
So
Um,
there's that answer.
okay. So, if your fave couple friends, we know who these people are, we're planning to have kids in a year, what advice would you give them on how to maximize their final year as non-parents? Okay, I'll start. Number one, as the woman, work out. Like, I feel like I
Let me
could
see.
have been better
No, I'm
at.
just looking at the
Oh, I feel like I could have been better
questions.
with prioritizing my fitness and health and wellness the year before, but I think I did a pretty good job at trying to be consistent. I was consistently doing bar and Pilates. We consistently walked all the time. So just like prioritizing your health and wellness, because I feel like it will make your pregnancy so much better and smoother. You will feel so much stronger, and then maintain that workout regimen and health and wellness routine throughout your pregnancy. Um, I just think prepping your body physically is the best thing you can do, because pregnancy and then labor and delivery is like a physical marathon, and it takes a lot out of you physically. So definitely that. I would also say getting a routine down packed, because you like it's kind of like how we feel about letting baby fit into our lives. Like, obviously your routine and your life and your time and your relationship with time just changes so drastically when you have a child. But if you already have discipline with time and you have a routine and a really strong regimen that you can fall back on, once you have the baby, you kind of have something to fall back on to, you know. So I do wish that our system with time was a bit tighter before we had her, or before we got pregnant, because even once you're pregnant, like, some days you just don't feel it. So definitely having a routine down packed. And I think those are like the two biggest things in my opinion. What would you say?
To prepare,
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't technically prepare, I do think the things that we were already doing helped us not feel unprepared.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing would be walking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like our walks are just like the best thing ever.
Yeah, I agree.
But I know for them specifically, they're fit people in general. Like, they're into it, so walking for sure. I mean, if you're not, even if you're not fit, just walk. But I think y'all would enjoy that just in general, even if it's just to walk to get some coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But that routine will last throughout the whole pregnancy, and I do feel like that helps aid in the best possible outcome when it comes to time to deliver.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's hard for me to answer just because we weren't technically trying yet. We weren't in the we never had a year before we actually started trying. It just
Yeah.
River said, "Hey, I'm coming."
Yeah. But to me, like,
Yeah,
your
routine,
your
and
time and your physical health are
yeah,
to me the biggest things to like prioritize in that year before you actually
yeah.
start
Because I
trying.
mean, I was fresh off the injury.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to do it my way, I would have at least waited a whole nother year from the time I got injured. It's like I got injured, couldn't do anything for 6 months, and then the end of the year you were pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like really trying to get into shape.
Yeah.
So I think for me, mentally, when I'm in shape, I feel great and I can do whatever. But when I'm constantly thinking like, oh, I'm not in shape or I'm not physically fit as I once was, then I'm thinking about that more.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just kind of like making sure my mental is good. And sometimes, for the most part, my mental is good when I'm active. And I wasn't active for so long, and then you got pregnant, and
Yeah.
then we just weren't active at all, other than our walks. That's what you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm used to doing so much more, and I never got back to that.
Yeah.
So kind of like do what you want to do in this time, so that you don't have to relearn how to do those things
Agreed.
once the baby is here.
For sure. Dream travel location.
What is it?
Uh, I would say, I don't know. I have a lot.
Yeah, mine are Harris. Like,
But I'd say Italy for sure. We've had that on our list
yeah,
for a
for
long
like
time.
a long time.
Yeah. Okay, let's do one or two more and then we'll wrap. A lot of these are very much so the
Similar.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, is there anything that you two are looking at cutting back on because of the new baby?
Cutting back on. I think naturally we cut back on like stuff we do for ourselves individually, but that's about it.
Like what?
I don't know. Like we haven't bought anything for ourselves since River has been here for real.
Hmm.
So I don't think it was intentional. I just think you end up putting a lot of focus onto buying things or
Doing stuff for the
doing
baby.
stuff for the baby. And that's not saying we forgot about ourselves because we do for each other. I kind of feel like we will fill each other up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That might be the only thing. From an individual standpoint, you may not consider yourself as much as you once did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. What made you guys decide to start a podcast? I'm interested in starting my own. It was a couple people who asked about how or where do you start with a podcast?
So how we started a podcast. I've been kind of tinkering, trying to figure out how can I like be comfortable in this whole space of like social media. And obviously, my wife is Aaron on demand, and so I don't know. Anyway, like I was saying, I wanted to master like this space because this is like the biggest challenge to me. Like I'm so structured, and not saying you're not structured to be on social media, but I have a very straightforward. My creativity doesn't like spill out, in the way that Aaron's does. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna like present this to her. And I don't know. Some of you may be here from the beginning. I started one like 3 years ago called Tie Down and Wind Down, and it just never really was hitting for me. I don't know what it was. And then like a year and a half, like we kind of stopped doing that. It was kind of just like, oh, let's record something, blah blah blah. And then I got injured last year, and it was at that moment I was like, I'm going to figure something out because I don't have anything else to do. And I came up with like this strategic podcast plan, and I gave it to Erin. I was like, I got it. And her reaction usually lets me know if I do or if I don't. And this one it actually hit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how we got into it. I created something. I wanted to create something, but I always want her to be a part of it. So I'm like, let's do this. Also, because it makes me more comfortable when I do it with her.
Yeah.
Um, and also now I just started my own other personal YouTube page.
Yeah.
But it's also to do with her.
Yeah.
But it's not us together. It's
Yeah.
she's in it, but it's like behind the scenes, all the things operational that keeps our business going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even know if I answered that all the way. It's just kind of like, did I?
I think you did. I would say logistically speaking, you don't need a whole lot to start a podcast. I mean, you guys see this set, but you really don't need that. I've seen some really
I mean, we started in my office.
yeah,
Remember?
we started in his office. I've seen some great sets I mean, some really cool like non-set podcasts where people just have like a little mic and they're just
I mean, Draymond Green
like
literally sits in his hotel, and
yeah.
he's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean, he
like,
has notoriety because of who he is.
I'm just
but
saying though, like
from like a you don't need a much point of view. Like, yes, he'd be a great example.
And that's something I had to like get over and understand. It's like you may watch all these people who are very established in these spaces, and it's like, man, they have this, they have that. Honestly, if you got an iPhone and you might even need no mics. Just start, honestly.
Yeah.
Like the cameras that we have now, like we got these things over time. Now we have an abundance of cameras, but
Yes. Oh, Lord.
and the mics, but like honestly, the best way I can put it, because I have friends that have asked, and I'm like, you're focusing on the equipment instead of just starting. I feel like a lot of times when you start, then the equipment comes.
Yeah.
Like that will earn, like the money you earn can buy the equipment you need, and that's how you make your the quality better. But I don't think you need all that content. I mean, all that
equipment
equipment to begin.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I would say the most the biggest thing you have to focus on is your perspective and like what you're bringing to
The table
the table
or
with
to
your
people.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like who you're talking to. So, yeah,
I mean, even with us,
that's the
like,
biggest focal
yeah,
point.
even with this podcast, I just wanted to be able to, I guess, give a perspective of a couple who has known each other, but like being able to have conversations, kind of like bringing a different, more positive perspective that may not seem as juicy per se.
We're like the
Because we're
most non-juicy
yeah
people ever.
we're just not like, I guess we can be considered boring in a way, but I do think that I had to also understand like we have something to offer.
Yeah.
Like the biggest advice I can give is knowing that we all have something to offer. And it's not about how it looks. Because I will look at other couples like, man, they talking about stuff.
Right.
We ain't never experienced that.
Yeah.
Like, but that's more common than what we've experienced as a couple together. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be it's just kind of like, I know there's people that can relate. There's people who can learn. There's people who may not like it. Who, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the moral of it is that you have something you can offer. And that's what I kind of stuck to when coming up with the podcast idea.
For sure. Well, I think that is all the questions we're going to answer for today. I got some questions that were geared only toward me, so maybe I will do a Q&A or like a little chit chat on my channel so I can hit some more of those questions. But otherwise, I think we hit a good amount of them.
Yeah, hopefully we answered those good. We spent a lot of time on some, but
I mean, it's fine. I like a detailed question. Shoot. Oh, wait. Can we answer this one more?
yeah.
Okay. So, hi, friends. I want to know how you are creating a life where you don't have to clock in, but also building generational wealth and enjoying the life you have now. Is the life y'all have created for one another solely off of YouTubing, brand deals, etc.? Or are there investments made outside of those to stay afloat in this economy? I know it's kind of a big one, but like she commented in the story box thing too, so I wanted to make sure I hit her question. It's not solely on YouTubing or brand deals. We also have another company called Simplement, which we sell the top 3 notebooks, and we're going to be rolling out some more planners. So we do have a product-based business as well. I also have a membership club. We have a lot of streams of income. I do feel like now I'm kind of in this space where I'm ready to kind of simplify things a little bit, but overall, like our everything is like the heartbeat of everything is YouTube and social media. So like in order for the membership club to grow, the products to sell, like we have to have a presence on social media, and a large part of our income is through brand deals, is through ads, like all of those things. So yeah, I think this year a big goal for us is expanding investments. We do have some investments, but that is not something that we live off of. So we're just kind of in this stage where we're trying to build our investments and, get those things rolling so that in the future we can, tap into them. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like that's...
Well, technically we have, I guess, investments, but they're not investments in like a tangible thing. It's more so like we just pay into something and we'll receive it down the line.
Exactly.
So from that perspective, yeah, but we're our next journey will be we'll be tapping more into like the real estate field. Mm-hmm. More so me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our next stream that we'll be focusing on. But yeah.
But she says, how are you creating a life where you don't have to clock in, but also building generational wealth and enjoying the life you have now? Do you feel like I answered it?
Yeah, I think you
answered it.
I mean, our income comes from like it's
social media predominantly. Social media. Yes. So that's it, girl. Yeah, take the leap. Whatever that looks like for you. Like whether that's social media or starting a business or whatever, like it feels good to be able to have autonomy over our lives. And even now there are things that we're like, oh, we need to make more money so we can have the freedom to do even more than we can right
Yeah.
now. So
And you also go to church with us, so like you can ask us at church for sure.
the person who asked the
Yeah.
question. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She goes to church with us. So if you have any
Okay.
questions or you and your husband have questions, like we will answer for sure. If you think you want to like tap into, I guess this lane, shoot, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely answer. If you need help with something, we'll assist where we can, and yeah.
Lovely. Well, thanks, guys. That was all of, well, not all of
No,
them,
it's
but
not-
a lot of them.
Yeah.
A good portion of them.
Happy New Year, y'all.
Whew.
Go
Lions
Lions.
are on. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for the respectful questions.
Yeah.
Nothing was crazy, like
No.
But I don't think we really.
Yeah, we're not juicy, so we're not
Yeah,
gonna get
we're not
like
gonna get
super
those type
juicy
of- yeah.
questions either.
Yeah, Happy New Year, y'all. If you rock with me, then you rock with us. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.